Boom, boom, kaboom. It's Newcomb in the room. It is July 1st. It is Canada Day. Welcome and happy Canada Day to everybody throughout Canada, all my gaming friends, and so on and so forth. Glad that you could be here and hanging out with me. It is greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, comments, or vice versa, just leave them in the chat. Certainly appreciate it for your support here. Now, the reason I'm doing an impromptu video, and they don't happen very often, is simply because I made a couple of statements earlier on Twitter. We all know what Twitter can be like. You certainly get lots of feedback if you're not always towing the line one side or the other, that sort of thing. Graphic, what has happened, my brother? How are you, sir? Happy Canada Day to you. It's good to see you. So I made a couple of statements, and I think people are largely taking my statements and once again attacking me because they think that I think Game Pass is is I don't know, terrible or something, okay, for the lack of better words. But that is couldn't be any further from the truth. That is not what I'm trying to say at all. Look, for the record, Game Pass, it is incredible. Game Pass is a phenomenal value. Game Pass is an exceptional value. If you happen to be a gamer that is on a budget and hasn't got the opportunity to grab many games, it is phenomenal for families, especially people that share game on multiple consoles, that sort of thing. Shizno Elite, how you doing? UK Dazarus in the house. What's going on, my brother? How are you? That sort of thing. So that is the easy part. There isn't much I can say. I don't have Game Pass, and I have it for odd reasons. And you guys have heard me say this story probably 5,000 times already. It's not... I just don't see, I see the value in it. I just don't see the value in it for me. And this is what I'm saying, because the games that I really want to play, I buy physical. So I get them day one anyway. It just happens to be a lot of the games I like the most are Microsoft games, which, well, up until recently, are going in day and date on the Game Pass servers, which is phenomenal. All right. Xbot 448, what's happening, my brother? How are you? Wow, good crew up in here already. Shout out to the Dazcast and the crew that are coming over here. Jago Kukin is in the house. What's going on, guys? Shizno Elite. Doing good, Xbot. I'm doing good, man. Hope you're having a great day so far. I just came back from the Canada Day celebrations. We were out at the parade. It was terrible today, though. We had a lot of rain. First time in years it's been rainy and cold. Still a pretty good parade. So I'm still trying to get the heat back on my fingers and all this stuff. And absolutely, Game Pass is awesome. You can sum it up in 3 words, like Desi said. Game Pass is awesome. I don't have an issue with Game Pass. This is the one I'm trying to say. It's not an issue with Game Pass. I have an issue with some of the games. Back before Game Pass existed, when certain games came out, we saw trailers and stuff, there would be a certain level of hype. I used to hear a lot of people in this community say, I would buy that game day one. Day one, there wasn't an issue. There wasn't a maybe if it's on sale, get it. I'll wait till my cousin gives it to me. I'll wait till somebody stops using it as a beer coaster. You know what I mean? I get that. This is what I'm saying. So, like, let's take Metro Exodus, for example. That is a phenomenal game. I don't know why people didn't run out and just buy it. Now, there in itself is kind of a problem. Some people now won't buy games because they're waiting for it to come to Game Pass. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because ultimately, I guess if the game gets played, that's the good thing. If more people play it because it's in Game Pass, that ultimately is a good thing. Sea of Thieves, another example, right? But the thing is, Sea of Thieves on its own, how many people in the community would actually play Sea of Thieves if Game Pass never existed right now? How many of you guys would have went out and dished $60 to $80 on the game, right? How many people in the community would have played Sea of Thieves day and date, day one, if there was one, they didn't have to wait for a sale or they couldn't get it in Game Pass? This is my question. This is what I'm saying. These games are failing to excite people because either one, you're on a budget, and I know lots of people in this community that have lots of money because they're buying games left, fucking right, and center, okay? So not everybody's a broke bastard, all right? Me, it kind of fluctuates. 1 minute I got money, 1 minute I don't. And there is something called a little credit card, which I don't think some people have ever fucking heard of or something, but you can always do credit cards, They do get you places, get you in trouble, too, if you're not adamant and you don't pay the fuckers. But this is what I'm saying. These games are great games, but they should generate excitement on their own. They shouldn't need a program like Game Pass to get people excited about them. I'm glad you guys are trying lots of games you wouldn't have never tried because they're in Game Pass. But that's just it. If you had no interest in it before, what does that say about the game? Right? You're only trying it because technically it's free. It's included in there. This is what I am saying. People are misconstruing that. So that is a game's problem. Either they're not marketing games properly, or the games themselves have content problems, but the game should get people excited. Looks like Mortal Kombat, for example. I know a lot of people in this chat named Mortal Kombat, including UK Dazarus and a few other people. A lot of you guys went out and bought Mortal Kombat day one. Why is that? Because one, you're a fan of the franchise. Two, maybe you've always been a fan of the franchise. Three, because the game looked fucking phenomenal. And it's a game you decided to say, I don't want to wait for, right? Do you know what I'm saying? And it does happen with Netflix graphic. Totally. People will sometimes, they'll watch movies. I definitely do. I watch movies on Netflix that probably wouldn't have ever paid full price or rented. Like I said, it's not I'm saying something right. It's not necessarily I'm saying wrong. It's people are sort of construing what I say, and people constantly think that Noof is hating on Game Pass, and it's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that, like some of these games that are going to Game Pass already, to be honest, should not even be there. Those games should be selling well on their own. Case in point, and Salty pointed out on Twitter, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Why the fuck is that game even in Game Pass? It's great that it's there. I'm glad there's lots of people trying Shadow of the Tomb Raider because it's in Game Pass. That is phenomenal. But the game shouldn't be there. The game in itself should have been a massive runaway hit. That game should have been blowing the doors off for people last year. It blew my doors off. I bought it day one. I'm going to go out and buy the disc copy of Gears of War 5. I'm going to get the Ultimate Edition. I will have a day one, day and date. I will have the disc version. The only outside advantage the Game Pass users are probably going to get is that you'll probably be able to download it earlier than me. You get to play it earlier than me. Antonio Lacia, what's happening, my brother? How you doing? Right? Game Pass. See, I bought Metro Exodus, I think, the week it came out, right? Now, it wasn't exactly on my total top list, but I think I watched some reviews and watched some gameplay, and then I went, man, I need to have this game. So this is what I'm saying. Like, is there just too many games, or are games failing to excite the audience is the question I'm asking. This is what I want to know. Like Nintendo, for example. Nintendo doesn't even need a Game Pass type scenario because everybody, as soon as a Nintendo game drops, everybody goes, they don't go, I might need that or I'll think about it. They generally go, I want that and I'm getting it. Right? This is what I am saying. And this is like Sony's games. Sony's fucking like God of War or Spider-Man. You think people are buying most of those games now? No, most people had them day one or within the first week or two of launch, right? Because those games get people hyped. Those games generate excitement. This is what I am saying. This is the point I'm trying to make. So are Microsoft's games or the games in general failing to generate excitement so that most people, they right, like you're getting it for value. Like for me, honestly, if you go to a lot of burger joints, right, they have their main burger and then they have their little burgers, they have their discount burgers. So a lot of the times when you go to those burger places, do you avoid the big burger that you really like just because you just want to get two of the little ones that are really cheap because maybe you're on a budget or whatever? Like nobody gets excited. Nobody technically goes, say, to McDonald's for their McDouble, right? I mean, you buy mostly when I'm buying McDoubles is because I want a really quick hit fix, and it says maybe I don't have 10 or 20 bucks to spend at the time. So you go in and you get that cheap burger. But at the end of the day, those are the items on people's menus that they're value picks, but they're not the main on-course, right? Xbox games don't generate excitement, they generate hate. I think that is totally true. I don't know what it is about Xbox games, but they get no love whatsoever. Now, I love the Xbox. Look, I have Sea of Thieves, which, while I don't think that game would win any awards in my book, the game is a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun with friends. I played it with a lot of you guys here in the chat. Crackdown 3 is an absolute hoot. Once again, it's not a single player narrative driven type of game, but you know what? If you look at Crackdown 3 compared to Crackdown 1 or Crackdown 2, it is a much better game. It's actually better. Wouldn't you guys in the chat agree that Crackdown 3 is a much better game than its predecessors? But yet it never got no love. Now, maybe Crackdown was never that great of a game to begin with, and that is a possibility, right? But a game is a game, right? That sort of thing. Like I said, Game Pass is phenomenal value. I am super stoked and happy that it is a large driving force in Microsoft's success now and in the future. I suspect it will only get bigger and better. But you know, we know why Microsoft is putting their first party stuff in day and date, right? Because they need to generate that, keep and generate that excitement for the product, right? But you know, when you see the third party stuff go in within a 6 months gap, this is kind of my point. Is why aren't these games generating more excitement? If the only way you're playing it is simply because it's on Game Pass, then the game failed to generate the kind of excitement that the developer and the publisher hopefully had intended when they showed the trailer off, maybe at E3 or one of the shows. This is what I'm saying, right? So you know, see, I bought, well, of course, I buy my games physical anyway. Now, Sea of Thieves is probably a game that if Game Pass never existed, I would have bought day one. I have no regrets about buying Sea of Thieves. Matter of fact, I bought it, got rid of it, and then bought it again. Crackdown 3, on the other hand, I never really was like super crazy on the first two. So Crackdown 3, I don't think I bought that day one exactly, but I think I bought it within the first week or so of it coming out. Um, and I have no regrets about paying for Crackdown 3. You know what I mean? This is all I was saying with my tweet, and people took it, and some of the replies I got were just completely just like hating on me because they're not getting my point. It's not me saying that Game Pass is bad. I've never said once anywhere that Game Pass was bad or that it wasn't fantastic value. I totally understand why people have it. Fuck, you can't go wrong. They're practically giving the fucking thing away here lately. It's crazy. Everywhere I look, it's like, 3 months for $1, blah 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 for $1. And of course, you'll see the PlayStation guys going, "Well, your games must be pretty shitty. You're getting all that for $1." No, it's the buy-in, man. We've seen this throughout the years. Back when I was a kid in school, as a matter of fact, I don't know if any of you guys in Canada or States familiar with Columbia House. Remember their deals back in the day? They used to give you first it was cassette tapes when I was growing up, and then they give you then they started giving you CDs, and you used to get so many, tapes, records, CDs. You get what was it, 10 for $1 or some fucking shit like that. The crazy catch with Columbia House was, you get all the fucking shit for next to nothing. It was 1 penny actually. I think it was get 10 for a penny, and if you paid an extra $3, you get an extra 5 or 6 things, right? I just wonder how many of you guys are old school remember Columbia House. But they had this great drawing, right? Everybody wanted Columbia House. I think everybody in Canada had Columbia House at least once or twice. I think a lot of us in Canada, and J-Dubs probably knows this, had Columbia House. We got our records. We fulfilled our contract, which basically I think once you did your contract, you only had to buy, I think, another 3 or 4 albums at regular price, which were always way more than they cost in a regular retail store too, which was funny. Buy a few more at regular price, then you could basically leave the club. Then a lot of us would go back, re-sign up with the club, get the fucking 12 albums again for the penny, and do it all over again. It was absolutely hilarious, right? But lots of people have those great drawings. Cell phone companies do it all the time. They give you this great program to draw you in, and then they fucking nail you with fees and charges and shit after, right? So I just want to make sure that you guys are in the chat. I want to know that you actually understand what I'm saying here, right? Because I don't want to have to keep. It's really hard to defend yourself on Twitter sometimes because it's easy to misinterpret the things that are said on Twitter. And you know what? After today, seriously, because I'm just so tired of this stuff all the time, I'm just going to stop tweeting a lot less. I will certainly have to tweet everything that'll have to be fucking positive. I will be positive puppet number one, because you can't say anything that's critical without it being construed as you're a negative, non-optimistic fucking turd burglar. You can't fucking be critical because you're damage controlling, right? You know what I mean? Well, I was being funnier. Salty is a bargain basement bin program, bro. That's a bit more of a humor on the side of things. You know what I mean? Um, it's a great program. It's fucking phenomenal. Like I said, Game Pass is great. I will stress that again. You heard it right here. Game Pass is great. I think it's awesome. It's fantastic value. It keeps getting better compared to where Game Pass was. What about this time last year? The library is absolutely phenomenal. It would be something nice to see them not take out so many games. Maybe leave a few more in. I know when I was doing the trial run, there was a few games that I actually got into, started playing, and then they hauled them out. So that, of course, that means you got to go buy them again, or you got to keep subscribing to Game Pass. Well, if once they come out of Game Pass, I think you actually have to go buy them, right? Once they come out, even if you have Game Pass, you don't still have access, correct? Yeah, I blocked 4 or 5 today already, just because like I don't. Sometimes I can be ignorant. I'll get that. I'll give you one. Stupid I am not. But some of the fucking comments I get are pretty fucking stupid because they totally go where they see something that you say, or they hear something you say. Most importantly, they see something that you read, and they make up their mind about what it is they saw, and then they think that you're making a point that's obviously not even fucking relevant to what you're trying to say. All I'm saying is, are games just not doing it for people? Is it a money issue? Are games not getting you excited? Because back in the day when we had Genesis, I did look back in the day when I had a Genesis Super Nintendo, games were fucking expensive. I didn't buy a lot of games, but let me tell you, when I wanted a fucking game, I bought the game. There was no waiting. I didn't wait for all my games to end up in the fucking Target discount bin, right, for $5. I bought them at full effing price, and I played the shit out of them. Right, this is what I'm saying. Um, I've said this before. And I continue to say it, and I think it's a problem. The industry does not. Gamers sometimes think it's not, but I think there are too many games. I've been saying this for a long time. Between the indies, the triple A's, the double A's, and everything in between, there are too many games. And somewhere along the lines, we see some of these delays. I necessarily don't get that upset anymore, because it's not like if the game gets delayed, it's the only game that's coming out in the next 7 or 8 months. Like, one game can get delayed, and there's 4 or 5 others that you can fucking play in the meantime, right? We had a lot less money, yeah. Plus, I had to bum a lot from the mother. You had to work a job, right? People do get offended easy, Shizno. Absolutely, man. Um, and people, of course, because I've started to get a little bit of, I guess, notoriety here between, Twitter and Facebook and whatever it might be. Of course, people come headhunting for you. Like I always say, man, the bigger you get, the bigger target you are. And we know a few people in the community that have been there. Salty certainly knows how I feel all too well. But that's all I'm saying. At the end of the day, is it the value that sells Game Pass, or is it the actual games? I'd have to say more often than not, most people are picking the value as to why they have Game Pass. Um, you know, that sort of thing. Like, let's take Red Dead Redemption, for example. Now, that game's already sold 20 odd million. It's a multi-plat. Would that game need to be in a Game Pass to sell it? Probably not. People wanted it. But why is it that people wanted that game? Why is it that people ran out to buy Red Dead in day one? Why people were clamoring to the stores? Most of the copies for Red Dead were either sold physically or digitally, right? But why is it people went out and bought that game, and they bought it like it was crack cocaine? But people weren't buying Tomb Raider, or people weren't buying Metro, or people weren't buying whatever the fuck it is. This is my point. Is it because you're just not excited for those games? Because if you're not excited for the games and they aren't on your must-buy playlist, why is it? Is it not your type of game? Are they overpriced? Is it the content? Like, people have said Metro. I've heard people say this many times this year. Metro has been considered people's on their list of game of the year. So if it's a game of the year, why in the hell didn't people not run out and buy that? What is it? Is it because it's survival horror? Because they didn't promote it? It's from a smaller publisher. One of the best looking games this generation. But people are quick to try it because it's on Game Pass. That's great. I mean, it's great if the game was struggling and it's getting more people to play it. I'm sure the publisher's happy with that. There's a reason they let it go. But that is what I'm saying. That is my point. And I hope that everybody listening to me right now understands my point. and can let it rest. I'm not here to shit on Game Pass or get you guys to go out and stop your subscriptions. Fuck, I'd be selling Game Pass out of my house if I could, if it made me some profits here. Right? But that's just it. It's because, like, first of all, I've heard people say with Gears 5, people are kind of going, a couple of years ago, when a Gears game launched on the 360, people weren't about the game. They were like, man, I am buying that shit. Like, you mark me down. If you're running to the store to drop your pre-order down, you're excited. Something about that game hit your nerves and you want to go buy it, right? That's awesome. But more games need to be hitting those nerves, not just the odd gamer, not just the super hyped, the Witchers and the Cyberpunk. So maybe the developers need to step it up a little bit. Maybe they're letting their game drop. Maybe they just have standards that they're not coming up with. What? Um, you know, so I think totally should know. I think the new Metro definitely sold way better than perhaps the old Metros ever did. Sounded like a dying seal. Gears has been my pinnacle. Big reason I'm even playing games today is largely because of Gears of War, and that is not a lie. I was like, I was like, I don't know. I was like a hair away from just saying fuck gaming altogether. Shortly after the original Xbox One, I can't remember why. I just know there was a time in my life where I just felt I was going in a different direction than what gaming was offering, and I was ready to step away. And I was just saying, fuck it, this is an expensive hobby, and I'm not really happy with it, and blah 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 blah. And I saw Gears, and I saw that trailer, and something about it just went, wow, this is what I'm talking about. And it roped me back in, man. And so I'm super excited at Gears 5. I don't need Game Pass to get me to play Gears 5. Do you need Game Pass to get you to play it? Or if you never owned Game Pass or it never existed, would you be dropping money on Gears 5 day and date? That is my question, right? So if you're saying if Game Pass never existed, you'd be buying that game day one, then fantastic. That game obviously appeals to you and it's done something right. It's done something to make you want it, right? Nintendo always makes you want their games. People were fucking lining up to buy Smash Bros, right? I'm nothing against Smash Bros. It's not my cup of tea, right? That's the kind of game that I've never bought, played a few times, right? But you know, I can't wait, man. I'm totally confident the collection of Rod Ferguson, the Gears 5 will be fucking phenomenal. Despite my arguments, just complaining, that they didn't show enough of the campaign or at all at E3. And it's not that it's a big problem if it was a year later, but you're a couple of months away and you haven't really showed anything concrete. Even Jez Corden, shout out to Jez. I mean, he said the same thing. He said he was kind of shocked that they didn't show more about the campaign. And maybe because the kind of day and age we're living in, people, like I said, you got the idiots that see 5 minutes of footage and you think that's the entire game. And then they make a big fucking stink online. And it kind of kills the momentum for the game sales. You get that. You get people leaking the story, blah, 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 blah. Super Smash the Princess. No, I mean, I don't mind fighting games. Just Smash Brothers just never appealed to me. It's just too whimsical, too odd. I don't know. Some people love it, and great for them. But just a franchise I never got into. Gears of War. Well, Gears 4 certainly come a long way from the first game. Let me tell you. Definitely the biggest improvements to Gears have been over the years. If you actually go back and you play the original, you see the combat refinement is so much better. But I kind of don't like the way the series kind of started to lighten up a little bit. That makes sense. How I like when your first couple games felt very dark and gritty. There was a bit of a change when he got to 3, 4 changed it even more. So that sort of stuff. But I'm pretty confident in Rod Ferguson, the Coalition. I think they're going to be fucking fantastic. Yeah. Man, I didn't think I'd be here doing but I just hope that I've clarified my point on this today. I don't want to have this issue going around. I hate being a dickhead on Twitter, and sometimes the angry side of Noof Nukem comes out. We all know I do have a little bit of an angry side at time to time when I get irritated. I'll throw down with the best people when they start taking shots at me and stuff like that. But it is what it is, man. But that's all I'm saying. Game at the end of the day, I'm just going to say Game Pass is phenomenal, but I just think that the games itself need to step it up. I don't think third parties need to be putting their games in there in the first 6 months if their fucking games are worth a rat's ass to begin with. Um, and they might be great games, but if they're fucking great, people should think they're fucking great, and you should be running out to buy them at the store, or not wait until they're fucking on in the discount bin. That's all I'm saying, right? I'm a goof. Yes, I am salty. I'm a goof, man, and I love being on the Salty's Gaming Podcast. Can't wait to do it on Wednesday night. Should be great. Feeling a lot better too, guys. So everybody that's sent me some well wishes the last couple of days, thank you. If you didn't know, if you haven't heard already, and I'm sure most of you have, I've been struggling with some kidney stones. They weren't as bad as the last time I had them, but they were bad nonetheless. Got sick the other morning, couldn't make it to my job. I was throwing up and I was sweating, and yeah, sure enough, went to the hospital. And I won't go to the hospital unless I know I'm in some kind of shape. And sure enough, I went and they did the testing and said, you got kidney stones. Well, I passed them a couple nights ago. I've been feeling a little bit better, but I think the drugs got my stomach doing 360s over here. But yeah, anyway, like I said, Game Pass is phenomenal. I can't support it enough in terms of, telling people to buy it and pat people on the back for going out and do it, because it's phenomenal value. There's so many games. You should never be bored with Game Pass. There's always something to play. But that's just me, right? I don't have enough disposable time to have that extra 50, 60, 100 games at my disposal. I'm not going to get a chance to play them. That is the bottom line. So I'm very picky and choosy about the games that I buy. And when I see a game at a trailer or at a show, I want to feel stimulated. I want to feel like, man, I want that game. I want to roll that game. You know what I mean? Like, that's a game I want. That's a game I want to plunk my hard-earned money down, because that's a game. How many games have I bought in the last few? The fact that my backlog is really, really large is because of two reasons. One, I'm just not finding enough time to play. And you know what? A lot of those games on my backlog don't stimulate me enough to play them. Okay? That's the problem. Ever got that problem when you got all these fucking games in your library and you sit there looking at them and you don't know what to play, even though you haven't beaten half of them? Like somebody said to me the other day, I'm playing Uncharted 4. My third time, I'm thinking, of playing Uncharted 4. Third time. And somebody made the point, new for you that hard up for games, you got to play Uncharted 4 again. And my point was, I'd rather play Uncharted 4 for the third fucking or fourth time than play some of these games I haven't even finished, that I have no fucking intentions of playing. Do you guys see my point? I got games in my back catalog that just don't do it. You play an hour or two and you just never feel like you really want to keep going. I lack stimulation. Oh, I must need some Viagra or fucking, or the wife's got to get to it over here. What is it, right? But you know what I mean? There's those games that are your go-to. There's those games that even no matter how many times you beat them, you'd rather play those games than play some of the new ones you just bought, right? For whatever reason. And I tell you, when it comes to anything that has survival elements in it or is overly heavy on the RPG stuff, I zone out. I mean, right now, what was I playing? What am I playing the other day? Like Rage 2. Fucking phenomenal game. Love Rage 2. Bought it day one. It's an absolute blast. I like it. It might not be everybody's bag, but I'm liking Rage 2. And I'm playing this the other day. But as I'm playing it as well, though, like, I don't know, I think I'm like 17 or 18 hours in the Rage 2. And I'm like, everything is opening up on this map. There's like mission and side quests and mission and shits just keep going. And I'm like, man, I'm fucking 16 hours in. Like, am I close to finishing this shit? Because I haven't got half the stuff unlocked, and I'm just driving to point A, driving to point B, shoot some fucking dudes over here, shoot some dudes over here. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, what is it? Like these fucking games, these are the ones pretty soon I'm just about done buying, because I've started to realize that open world just about anything fucking loses me. I just don't have the attention span to constantly be dealing with open world games. And here's the problem with most of the open world games. The open world games technically force you to play a lot of the side quests, because without them, because they're sort of RPG level based where you have the level up or you got to get a better weapon, you're kind of forced into playing a lot of the missions whether you like to or not, because otherwise you're not high enough leveled to beat the later stages of the game, right? Um, that's why I like Tomb Raider, because the Tomb Raider franchise had the semi-open world where it was a little bit of you could gonna go off and do a little bit of your own thing, but it kept it on a straight enough path that you weren't constantly distracted. And that's what I liked about Tomb Raider. The progression felt a little faster and more fluid. Where open world games, my God, you just get fucking all over the place with those things. I don't know. And I don't know, maybe you guys, but I'm pretty sure at some point I got some sort of what do you call it? I don't think it's attention deficit. What's the other one when you're fucking when you're like you're anal about missing shit? I hate that. It drives me nuts. I want to complete shit. I don't want to. I don't want to beat the game. You know, and you go back and you look at statistics, and you beat the game. You spent 40 hours, and then you realize you've only did about 45% of the fucking game, and you're like, Jesus, I haven't even really. I played 40 hours, and I barely even played this fucking thing yet. I got other games to play, man. I don't have that much time, you know. And of course, if you're an achievement person, there's achievements often wrapped in with playing all these fucking side quests and shit too. So if you want to get the achievements, there you go again. You're off fucking achievement hunting. OCD, yes, that's what I want. Yeah. Game should be like porn and just fast forward to the last bit, get it over with. Just get her done. Oh my god, that'd be funny. Oh man. Yeah, it's so sometimes I understand why sometimes people like fighting games because they're pretty simple. You know, you go in, you take on a guy, you beat the shit out of him, you move on to the next one, you kind of go through the ladder format, whatever. Sometimes there's a little bit of a story in there to keep you going. I love how Mortal Kombat 11 has that story in there now, which doesn't seem the same as just, oh, it's just standard procedure. I'm really liking that aspect. More, and that's the thing, right? See, this is what I'm saying. Mortal Kombat 11 is the first Mortal Kombat in a couple of decades that got me absolutely excited to buy the new one day one. It's a fighting game. I don't even buy fighting games hardly ever, ever. The last time I felt fighting games that I wanted them in day one were back in the early days of MK and Street Fighter. Like I remember buying Mortal Kombat 2 when it first came out, and I was super excited. Like that was the fucking be all end all game. But the last couple of years, I see games like Dead or Alive and Tekken, and I'm just like, eh. See, to me, I mean, like if that game is in Game Pass, go for it because fucking ain't paying $80 for it. That's for sure, right? Um, well, I mean, open worlds are fine too, but I mean, or even if there was a way where some of these open world games give you sort of an option where you could cut out a lot of it. You know what I mean? Like maybe like where when you're picking your story mode, you kind of go like you could pick a mode and say open world where you go say story focus, so it keeps you on the main points, maybe get rid of all the side quest shit so you're not fucking distracted, and then go, you want the full enchilada, here's another option, you play it that way, you do it however you want, right? Like Mad Max, another phenomenal game, guys. I hope you suggest you pick it up. I think that one is in Game Pass, and there's another phenomenal game that's getting a second run of success, I think, due to Game Pass. But that was another great game, but you get really sidetracked and distracted with that. Well, yeah, like Antonio, Metal Gear 5. Did that need to be open world? See, this is another reason I prefer Splinter Cell over that, because Splinter Cell just keeps it on track. You got your level, you go in, you do your objectives, you get in, you get out, done, right? Yeah, we need some more DC games for sure. But yeah, so that's all. End of the day, I'm just going to drop the Game Pass thing. It's phenomenal. Buy it. You guys know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the games itself need to step up because people should want to play them regardless if Game Pass existed or it didn't. You should be going, man, I would buy that day one. When you're looking at me and going, so, dude, you're going to buy that game? Well, I'll play it because it's on a Game Pass. That's a problem. It's not a problem. It's not like a fucking problem that's going to ruin anybody's wallets. It's actually a good problem to have if you're on a budget. But it's just like, why isn't the game, getting you charged up? So what did they do wrong? Some games come out and people are automatically hyped, and other games come out no matter how good they look or how good the trailers. You're just like, yeah, I bet you most people are buying Cyberpunk 2077 day one, right? Do you need that to go to Game Pass? Anybody need to chat? Who's buying Cyberpunk 2077 day one? Day one. And if it was in Game Pass, would you be saying, I'll play it just because it's in Game Pass? That's a question to you guys, right? Um, right, day one, absolutely, it's day one for me. You know, and again, it's another open world action RPG. But yeah, it's day one for me, right? And totally, wreck muscle. You can't beat the value of Game Pass, and again, that's not my argument. There are lots of people are playing. I know indies are great for that. That's why I can see why indies are getting such a big life because of Game Pass, because lots of people are playing these games. And that's the thing. Those would be the games that I would be more interested in if I did have Game Pass, just because I might be more tempted to try them, knowing I didn't have to pay $20 or $30 for them. At least you know then if you don't like it, you're not screwed, and that's the biggest thing too. You're not screwed out of your money because you play these games and you don't like them, then that's it. You can just delete them from the hard drive and move forward, right? Yeah, I want to get that, man. Can't wait. Cyberpunk, yeah, baby. Um, well, hopefully you'll get it, True Racer. The way you've been going, bro, maybe you'll win it. Yeah. Well, I'm glad Jago understands my tweet and kind of know where I was going, because I wasn't taking a shot at Game Pass users. That's the thing. I'm not insulting Game Pass users. Half this fucking community has Game Pass, so and people have promoted it actively. And I've said this since day one. It's amazing. And I also said since day one, and I'm still, and this one I am right about 100%. I said when Game Pass came out, I said games with gold was going to take a massive hit. Was I right or was I wrong? You can look at the track record of games with gold. They've progressively gotten worse since the Game Pass came out. And I called it even before Game Pass was even a thing. As soon as they made the announcement on Game Pass, I was calling it. And I got it right. And a lot of community people know that I'm one of the first to that, or maybe the first that actually called it out. And I'm not saying games of gold is necessarily terrible, because hey, free games are free games. Anything you get above and beyond your subscription pay is always a bonus. But games of gold has just had, like, just, when they first games of gold first come out, you were getting some heavy hitters, and now it's like most of the time now the best games are the 360 ones that you're getting, and most of the Xbox One stuff for like indies that either most people never heard of or didn't really care for anyway. You know, this is kind of what I'm saying. Most people that actually give a damn about the games are complaining because we already have the games on Games of Gold. And if you haven't got the games on Games of Gold, there's probably a goddamn good reason you didn't buy them in the first place, right? So, entire PlayStation Plus has actually been, I'll give them credit. Theirs has been consistently way better than Xbox. They've had some shitty months too. More recently, they started getting some shitty. I think they don't even care anymore now with PlayStation Plus as much, because they look over at Xbox and they go, "Oh, look what they're giving away." They don't feel the pressure. It was a big selling point for people on PlayStation, was to look over and know that their PlayStation Plus lineup was a lot better than Xbox's, right? Um, yeah, I'm surprised they don't have more Forzas in there. I really don't understand the logic with them not having more Forzas in Game Pass. That's really weird. Yeah, that Castlevania one I've heard good things about. I might actually give that one a try. I've heard good about Inside, and the only reason I'm hesitant with Inside, because I had what's the one they made before Inside a few years ago? There, it's called oh god, the little dude. I'm just trying to fucking think. Oh, it's the black and white game that they made. And the little dude would jump along, and it was a puzzle game. Anybody remember that one? Limbo. Yes, graphic god, Limbo. Like, I had that one, and you know what? I lost interest in Limbo after about 2 levels. I don't think I haven't beaten that game. Those games, just those like really quiet, artsy fartsy, like puzzly games, just don't float my boat. I get bored with them like super easy, man. I'm telling you. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Game Pass, it is great. It is definitely the value that sells it, though, more than the games that are there. I think a lot of times people just go look at the games and go, well, it's a bonus. But I don't think people are going, oh my God, I got to buy Game Pass because this game's in there. That sort of thing. It's usually more of the fucking, the bonus factor that you get all these games for like next to nothing a month. So, and I guess the last thing I'm just going to quickly talk on real quick is, and this is I don't know if it's a shocker, but it's kind of disappointing that Microsoft relinquished the rights on Alan Wake, right? Here's another fantastic game that slipped underneath the radar. My take on Alan Wake is the original game was phenomenal. If anybody's ever played it, I'm pretty sure you agree. It's definitely a highly acclaimed title, definitely one of the higher rated titles probably to come out within that year or whatever. It was a great game, great story, phenomenal graphics that even look good by today's standards. It was sort of survival horror, but a mystery storytelling, all that sort of stuff in there. It was quite unique. The whole light system and stuff, how you'd have the flash of these shadow characters and stuff like that. And Alan Wake was a phenomenal game. Remedy really made a good game there, trying to break outside of their Max Payne mold, so to speak. And I like Cyber Gunter. What has happened, brother? How you doing? Um, but Alan Wake, a lot of people in the Xbox community have said, like, one thing we've basically said the last couple of years, and this is pretty much a no-brainer, that Microsoft needs more IPs that can tell a great story, that are more narrative driven, that are more focused on the single player side of things, to kind of compete with the glut and non-slot that we get from Sony's camp. And here they go. And then they relinquish this IP. Now, is it because the relationship is soured with Remedy and they don't think anybody could make a Max or make an Alan Wake IP besides them? I don't think so. But why would you give it up? They just don't see no future in it there. Um, yeah, Game Pass should have come out when fucking Quantum Break came out. Maybe more people would have got on board with that. But you know, I don't know, man. With Alan Wake was just a phenomenal game, but I think the problem was Alan Wake also came out. If I'm correct, did Alan Wake come out? Was it 2007? The original Alan Wake, because it was, just to say it was 2007. It came out in a year which was notoriously known for being one of the best gaming years in gaming history. 2007 was a phenomenal gaming year. Came out against a lot of competition. It also came out at a time when survival horror genres weren't exactly as big as they are now. They've kind of seen that resurgence. I think largely due to the success of Resident Evil kind of coming back and being stronger than ever, and various other franchises as well, the Evil Within, so on and so forth. 2010, really, it was that late in the life cycle. Oh, okay, I was thinking it was like 2007. But I mean, if you look at it, the install base too of the 360, because it was a 360 exclusive. It wasn't anywhere else. I don't even think it was on PC at the time. I don't know. Like, I think it was an Xbox 360 exclusive. So I think it struggled from having a limited audience. You know what I mean? Um, I think that was part of the problem. It struggled from a limited audience. It also struggled from, I guess, a little bit of a lack of marketing at the time. I don't think it was marketed too heavily. I mean, I saw it in places, but and it's always hard. Anytime you're selling a new IP to anything, it's always a tougher sell than once you've got a couple of games out the door, because at least then you know kind of where the franchise is going, what you can expect from it, and whether there was enough from the first game to kind of go, you know what, there was enough there to make a sequel. That sort of thing, right? So, yeah, like I said, there was a lot of competition around then. Other games kind of killed it off. This is what I said about too many games these days, and I wholeheartedly still agree that there are too many games out there, because a lot of people just can't get enough time and money to play all these games. And thanks for the happy Canada Day wishes, guys. For us, Canada Day is to celebrate the birth of Canada, I guess, since the time we became a nation, that sort of thing. So that's why we celebrate Canada Day. It's to celebrate Canada's birthday, because 152 years ago we became the country of Canada as a whole. So it's kind of like our Independence Day here for you, my American friends who've always kind of wondered what the fuck it's about. Basically, with Canada Day too, for we get up. A lot of times people will have like a breakfast, usually traditional Canadian style breakfast. This morning I had pancakes. We had it with Canadian maple syrup. After that, so like I said, we had a parade here in my city, and there's festivities throughout the day. Later on, we kind of cap things off with the fireworks, and it's just a pretty good day all around. And it's traditionally known as a good party day and a great day to be drinking. I got lots of cold beer in the fridge, and I can't wait to dive into those a little later on. So yeah, and my buddy J Dubs in the chat, graphic god, I got a refrigerator full of New Brunswick's own Moosehead beer, brother. I don't know if you drink that, but I like the Moosehead. Some people call it Moose Piss. I like it. To me, Moosehead beer is kind of the equivalent of kind of like a Canadian Corona. Well, we have traditional bacon because up here in Canada, depends on where you go. Some people call it Canadian bacon. It's like the side bacon. It's like it's really thick. It's kind of like it's like the side bacon. It's almost more like a ham, right? But I like traditional bacon. You know, the greasy, fatty shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, and unlike popular cartoons, no, our heads are all attached. We don't have disjointed necks and mouths and go all over the place like Terrence and Philip, and we're not constantly farting. Uh, I got the liquor stores all over the place. J Dubs, I can fill this fridge up with that. I got Molson Canadian in there too. I don't know if you like that or not, but yeah. So I just thought I'd put that little tidbit out there. Poutine, yes, poutine is delicious. If you've never had poutine, you need to come to Canada and try it. Even bad poutine is pretty good poutine, but some places are really fucking good. And all poutine is, for those who don't know what poutine is, it's basically just French fries. So the better your French fries, the better you start out. So if you got a place that cooks really good damn fries, you put a wicked ass gravy on top of that, and you smother in cheese curd, really thick mozzarella cheese curds. That shit gets all mixed together, and oh my god, that shit's good. Yeah, I drank a lot of Moosehead when I was going to college there. I was in Nova Scotia at the time, and that's where I did my schooling, and it was pretty popular between that and Alexander Keith's. Yeah, so it was kind of between those two, but I like Moosehead. It's nice and smooth. I like a beer that goes down smooth, like it goes down smooth, and you're not tasting it for hours later. You know what I mean? I don't want my beers to be like my beef jerky and stuff, where you fucking eat it and like an hour later you burp and you're still tasting it. I like my beer to go down, and then you're not like having this old yeasty taste, right? I was in Halifax, Nova Scotia, J Dubs, and I went to a school called the Atlantic Broadcasting Institute. So I spent some time down at the Metro Center and down at the old Liquor Dome in those areas. I liked Halifax. Halifax was quite nice. Yeah. But anyway, just with the Alan Wake, like I said, I'm surprised they let it go. And what I can totally see happening, this would not surprise me at all, is Sony will probably, I think if they make another Alan Wake, I think it's going to be a multi-plat. I'm almost certain it would be. But here's the other thing. I have a feeling that Sony's already cutting a check for Remedy, since Sony already has a bit of a promotional thing in with them now for the game Control. So don't be surprised if Sony comes out, they make an Alan Wake 2 in the next couple of years, and then Sony has some sort of exclusive content, or perhaps the game is even a timed exclusive, because they know that'll piss off Xbox fans, right? Oh, they get Alan Wake 2 and they get it a year before us. That would piss off Xbox fans in the same way I guess Tomb Raider pissed off the PlayStation fans. So don't be fucking surprised if we see some sort of seedy ass shit like that. Now, a lot of people gave Microsoft a lot of shit for the Tomb Raider thing, but here's the deal. The deal with Microsoft stepped up to help Crystal Dynamics make the fucking game. They like partly funded it or some bullshit, right? Like there was more to it than just, oh, we're going to sign a contract. Like Microsoft had a large investment into the franchise, and especially in the sequel getting made to begin with. So that's why there was a little bit more of a bonus for Xbox, right? But I mean, it's different if you're just coming over and here's a checkbook and it's like, how long can we keep this off the competing console, right? Well, there you go, right? Right now, I think this is a crazy time. If you're not sure if you're going to be a multi-console owner next gen, and you're thinking about buying one or the other, it's a crazy time, because I think right now a lot of Xbox fans are sort of in a little bit of a disarray, not quite sure what their motives are, where they're going with their brand, what the next consoles are ultimately going to be like, and are they going to offer enough games to keep us invested and happily invested in the platform. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And Sony knows that. Sony knows to come out swinging with PS5 is you got to draw on. Sometimes you got to draw on the competitor, the competing players, right? We saw that before. We saw people that were one time, say, PlayStation fans switch over and they bought Xbox, bought it exclusively. Fans that are buying multi-plats and going everywhere, that's, it's fine. Everybody kind of wins. But if if you spend a lot of money in one console ecosystem, you get enough of those people. You say you take 1 million people that only buy one console or the other or whatever. That's a lot of money that the competitor's losing out on, because that person prefers PlayStation over Xbox, Xbox over PlayStation, and vice versa, and the reasons behind it. You know what I mean? They don't want to be losing one fan, let alone thousands. So, I'd say the biggest factor for me, Jago, when it comes to maybe a new console for me is probably going to be might be the VR factor, bro. Philly Eagle, how you doing, man? Good to see you. That could be part of it. So it'll be interesting to see where things go. But I think, like I said, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that franchise. Will they make another one? If it comes out, I suspect it's quite a ways out. We would probably be years away if we get another Alan Wake at all. This is just they bought back their publishing rights to the IP. But it just doesn't make a lot of sense when fans have been telling Microsoft you need more single player action story based narrative games. We've had many a fan say this publicly, and then you go and get rid of a franchise that had tons of potential to be way bigger on a sequel. But I don't fucking know. I guess if it doesn't have, outright aspects of multiplayer based successful, maybe Microsoft wants nothing to do with it. Like you'd have to wonder how viable Gears of War would even be to Microsoft at this point if it wasn't for the fact that their multiplayer makes them money hand over fist. And so, much like Halo, or either one of those franchises, like if they didn't have successful multiplayers, would they hold any weight? That's a great question, right? Do you think those franchises would still be relevant if they didn't have a multiplayer? Oh, they got lots of games on multiplayer, but very few games have successful multiplayer. That's the other thing you have to remind yourself. There's lots of games out there that got multiplayers, but very few are successful. It seems if you look at the industry and you look at what's getting played, you're down to about a dozen games that pretty much rule the roost. And everybody, if you're not inside of that dozen, you're kind of not in that ballpark. You know what I mean? And you need to have a very successful multiplayer to keep the revenue flowing in. It's pretty crazy when you look at some of the old COD games. There's still more people playing some of the old COD games that amount for 5, 6, 7 years than there are playing some of these new multiplayer games that are not even 6 or 7 months old. That's insane. Remember how fast people dropped off of Cliffy B's fucking shooter? What was that one called? I can't remember. Remember he made that one like a few months back or whatever, like last year, and fucking, I think within 2 weeks, the multiplayer was almost nobody playing it. And then of course the studio. See, I hate that, man. That's sad. And the studio gets fucking scrapped, and man, crazy. But anyway, guys, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me. I hope I definitely, got a few things off my chest and out of the way on the stream, and that you understand where I'm coming from, and know that Nuke Nukem is not some pessimistic asshole hater that just fucking hates everything. Thank you, Lawbreakers. I said this before, say it again. Game Pass is fucking phenomenal. If you don't have it, you should get it, unless you're Nuke Nukem. And you guys know why I don't have it, because I'm a physical game connoisseur. I will continue to buy my games on discs. And the games that Microsoft makes happen to be my favorite titles, so I generally buy those games day and date anyway. So, yes, I'm paying a lot more money. I get that. But the thing is, I'm not planning to buy 100 games. I'm only going to play fucking 4 or 5 games. I'm only planning to buy so many games. And I buy the ones I want because I know those are the ones I will want to play. I don't buy games because I think I'll like to play it, and maybe I'll add it to my backlog and play it 6 months later. I fucking, I play what I want when I want, but I only buy the games that I know that I'm 80% to 100% completely invested in. If I buy something, a lot of times that's in my backlog that I haven't played too much. A lot of times it's a game that I went to Walmart somewhere and I got it for 20 or 30 bucks, right? That's my version of Game Pass. I go into a store, go, I heard about that game. I heard it was pretty good. Maybe I'll pick it up for for 30 bucks, right? Like I knew, for example, that Assassin's Creed Odyssey was going to be an incredible game. I knew that because I loved Origins, and people told me that, oh, if you love Origins, you're really going to love Odyssey. That wasn't a problem. Now, the reason I didn't buy Odyssey day one is because I just fucking bought Origins last year, and I barely got through playing it, and I was like a little bit Assassin's Creed out. I'm fucking so tired of Assassin's Creed games. I'm like, I love Assassin's Creed games, but I don't think I want to play one every fucking year. I don't even think I want to play Gears of War if they made a Gears game every year, because eventually I would get tired of it. I like having bigger, better games. And I like my games to be, when a sequel comes out, I like my game to differentiate itself enough from the game before it that you know it's a sequel and you don't go, God, this feels like DLC. If you buy a new fucking game and you go, that felt like DLC, then they didn't do fucking jack shit with the game. That's, but it's a phenomenal game. Odyssey is amazing. And I'm getting off topic, but I'm just saying Game Pass is phenomenal. You guys know why. Like I said, I don't have it, but I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully I clarified a few things today. Definitely think companies got to step up their game. They have to make gamers want these games instead of being optional things. You should be going, man, I would plunk my money down for that day one. You should be getting ready to run for pre-orders, not going, game looks okay. And thank God it's in Game Pass because that's the only way I'll try it. That's what I'm saying. If that's what you're saying, it's not Game Pass failing, but the game itself is failing, right? It's failing to get you excited. And most games should be getting you excited if you like the content. But anyway, that is it for me today, guys. I got to head out. I can't wait to see a lot of you tomorrow night. It's episode number 20 of Gaming After Dark, myself and Primal Eve. And if things go according to plan, I'm hoping that we will have a special guest for you tomorrow night, a man who I'm super excited to have on the show. I'll see if you can guess who my guest is for tomorrow night. He's often been known for yelling. Do you guys know who that might be? If all goes well, he will be my guest tomorrow night on the show. So the man who's known for yelling, and I think it'll be his first appearance there as well. Been a while, but anyway, that is it for me. Yeah, the mooch. Titan Drago. Yeah, Titan's pretty good for yelling too, man. Thanks again, guys, for popping by and checking out my impromptu stream. This wasn't actually planned today, but I did want to get a couple things off my chest. UK Desirous, Jago Kukin, Shizno Elite, Antonio Alessia, Philly Eagle, Graphic God, J Dubs in the house. Speaking of J Dubs, great guy, guys. I don't know if you've checked out his Xbox Gamer Picks. Make sure you go and check out some of his phenomenal work, by the way. Support him if and when you can. He's a great dude. He's done some stuff for me and never charged me a dime. Probably shouldn't have said that, but sometimes he does a little bit of stuff just out of the goodness of his heart. He's Canadian after all. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming out and being a part of the show. We had a lot of people here. Couldn't even believe I had Cyber Gunner's been in the house today. Xbot 448. Can't remember the last time he dropped by and checked out one of my streams, so that's pretty cool. Wrecked Muscle, new guy in the chat today. Never seen him here before, but thanks for popping by. True Racer was here. Great group, man. Great group indeed. So once again, thanks for everybody coming out, checking out the podcast, and listen to me bicker, bitch, and everything in between. So we will catch you soon. I love your work, Jay, man. You do good stuff, man. Still love my logos. Love my shirts. I wear that one all the time. The one that you recently sent me that I won in the contest. The one about the gamers. We settled this like adults with all the controllers. Fucking phenomenal. I think it's like one controller in that whole fucking shirt I never ever had. It's pretty cool. Mr. Kima, no problem, man. Hey, man, it's okay. You get 2 minutes or you get 5. You can always go back and rewatch it later, brother. But thanks for popping in, checking it out. Anyway, guys, you guys are fantastic. We will catch you later. Peace, love. Happy Canada Day. Anybody celebrating? I'm sure I'll get to talk to many of you before the 4th, but I know Independence Day is coming up in the States, so I'll wish you that in advance. So happy Independence Day, July 4th, all my American friends. Not sure what you guys celebrate over in the UK. We'll call it Happy Beers Day for UK Daz. He's always drinking the suds. I don't know what fucking video that was you put up on Twitter the other day there, Daz, but goddamn, I think you must have been cockeyed in that one. Couldn't understand hardly a thing you said. But anyway, good group, guys. You guys are fucking fantastic. See you all later. Yeah, you go check out the dudes when they do their fucking the Retro Renegades. Great group. They have a lot of fun on that one. The Daz Cast. Great podcast, great group of guys, easy going, lots of fun. Yes, I'm giving you some props there, guys. A bit of shout out to you guys. You're my brothers. I love you guys. You're fantastic. Lighthearted, easy going. Love gaming. There you go. Don't take shit too seriously. That's what it's all about, brothers. Anyway, I will catch you guys later. Take it easy. Peace, love. Kudos. Out.